All right. It is the beginning of a new year, and you're probably, I'm guessing you have some health goals. You have some things you want to reach. And if you're like me, that's really important to you because this is the temple of God. This is a vessel, and we need to have energy and we need to feel good and we need to be strong in order to accomplish everything God has for us, whether you're a mom at home, whether you're a CEO, no matter what it is, we've got tasks that are significantly important in our lives, and we need to have the body and the health and to go after all that. So when you find someone who has got it together and they are rocking life and they look awesome and they feel awesome and they're rocking the whole health game, you want to know, how are you doing this? How are you staying so fit, so well, so vibrant? So if you want to know some secret inside information on how this woman gets it done, then you're going to want to stick around and listen to Shemane Nugent, who has got a wealth of wisdom that she's going to pour into you.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Hannah. I really appreciate it. And you and I were talking a little bit beforehand. It's not easy going through what we've gone through, you and all of your beautiful kids. I mean, what a blessing. But it's a constant struggle, is it not, to just maintain and try to juggle all the things, especially that women that we have. And
Yeah.
after I got sick and almost died from toxic mold exposure, I made my health a priority,
Mm.
and I'm not apologetic for it. I'm diving in deep because this is my one and only vessel for God. I can't be of service to God or to anyone else if I don't have the health and abundance of wellness to do that.
Right. That is so true. And I want to call attention to something you said, because you said when you got sick and you almost died from mold exposure, you made health a priority. And this is a problem that I see is fortunately you tackled it, man. You figured out what you were lacking. You made it a priority. You went after it. Too many people don't make it a priority until the results come in and they're too sick and tired and out of shape to do anything about it. It's like, wow, if I had known, I would have spent more time. I would have moved my body more. I would have eaten a little better. And I don't want us to get down the road and be in that situation, where, like, I remember it was really difficult caring for my mom before she passed a couple years ago. And it was hard, but she was a busy mom. She had 5 kids and ran a business. She was an amazing woman, did so much, but health was often at the bottom of the list, you know, and it broke my heart for her, but it made me like, whoa, I feel that conviction of, like, you know what, I want to live out my days with such health and vibrancy that I'm able to complete the task that God has for me here.
Absolutely. I've seen this for so many years. I've been a fitness instructor since 1980. When I was in college, I
So
gained the
you were there with all the leg warmers,
Oh, girl,
and yes.
I rocked the leg warmers.
Was
And
there ever a better era than the 80s? I'm just
you know
saying.
what? No, there
No,
wasn't. I think that was
no,
the best era. We didn't
it was the
realize how
best.
good we had it, except for the bottle or can of hairspray with the
Huh.
mile high.
And it had to be final net.
Yes, I will send
Well,
you. I actually did a video. I had a cable aerobics video, and I had the white leather pleather belt and the white leg warmers with the Reebok
yes, you
shoes,
did.
and yeah, I was rocking it. But I gained the freshman 15. I did that. It seems like everything is like action reaction.
Yeah,
Certain things lead up to a time, a moment in your life where you go, I can't do that anymore. And it
right.
doesn't happen until we hit rock bottom. And I
Mm,
realized I didn't wake up one day and I was 30 pounds heavier than I am now. It just happened, over the course of
right,
high school years. I was an
right,
athlete in high
right.
school. I was a state champion swimmer 2 times. Then when I got to college and I wasn't working out as much, I was still eating the same amount. And I realized I couldn't do that. So I became a group fitness instructor. And I realized that over the course of the years, I've trained thousands of people and even instructors. I started working for Zumba, and I traveled all over the world. I trained instructors for Zumba in London and Paris and Australia and probably every state. It's the same thing. People come for an hour of, number one, distraction, number two, to
Yeah.
sweat and to smile and to have fun.
Yeah.
We are all so busy, but I see it in women so often. We put ourselves last,
Oh yeah.
where we need to do what the flight attendant has always said, put the oxygen mask on yourself first before helping others, you know?
Right. Right. You know, and that's one thing with all the research I've done around the mom brain. We are actually, that caring for yourself is one of the most counterintuitive things a mom can do, because her brain is wired to always put her kids first. Like, that is an evolutionary response of her brain. Once you become a mom, your brain literally changes. Like, you can look at a MRI and your brain has changed. Now the priority is keep my kids alive. So everything becomes, that's why we lose focus. That's why we can't remember what we were going after when we walk in a room. That's why we're distracted, because we're always like scanning what are the potential threats for my children. But what this means also is we are the ones who will put ourselves last. I call it totem pole syndrome. And then everything kind of crushes on you, right? And then if you're not happy, ain't nobody happy. If you're
That's
not
true.
being strong, everything's falling apart. So how did you make this, like when you made this a priority, Shemane, what were the first things you did?
Well, first of all, I love to work out. So
Yeah.
I fall in that category. And I know there are a lot of people who just don't enjoy it, but I was a gymnast when I was growing up. I was a college cheerleader. So I loved dancing and being active. And when group fitness came around, I realized that if I taught a class, yes, I had to be at the gym at a certain time, no ifs, ands, or buts. I had to be there. But once I was there, it was such a blessing to
Mm,
be, I couldn't just kind of wade myself through it. I had to react
yeah.
like there's, everything depended on it. And it really was a blessing because I got a great workout doing it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I saw, looking back at me, all these amazing smiling faces. And it was just, it buoyed my spirit. It kept me going. So that, number one, making fitness a priority is a really big part of your life. And in my book, Abundantly Well, I want to walk with you, alongside of you, for those of people in your audience who have never worked out before. Do not fret.
Yeah.
You can get a good workout. Have you ever done a HIIT workout, Hannah?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can sweat in 15 minutes. Am I wrong?
Yes. Yes.
You can get a great
Absolutely.
workout in 15 minutes. And if you
Yeah.
only allow
Yeah.
yourself 15 minutes, you can sweat, you can do some strength training and stretching at the same time. But it has to be a priority. And one of the things that I recommend to people is there's a couple things. Write it into your planner every day, or at least 3 times a week, 15 minutes. And I wrote a book a few years ago called 4 Minutes to Happy. The secret is that if you set aside just a few minutes a day for yourself, you're
Yeah.
probably going to end up loving it, loving
Yeah.
working out. If you find the right instructor, and nowadays there's so many online programs that you could do, those 4 minutes or 15 minutes are going to turn into something longer. And then what happens is you're going to drink more water.
Yeah.
You're going to eat healthier, because you're going to look at the donuts and go, well, I just burned 200 calories on a spinning ride or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Do I really want to make up for it with the donut? You're just going to, your taste buds are going to react differently. So I think exercise for me is the most important thing.
You know what? So I want to talk about that a little bit, because I talk to a lot of moms, as you know, and moms will say, it's just, I don't have time for it. It's too complicated. I was talking to this one person and they were like, well, this is kind of funny. You'll laugh, because our brain, you know what we're doing. Well, I saved a bunch of exercises that I saw on social media, and I have this file with, I'm like, all right, how did that help your strength? How did that help your mind? You saving things. And I was like, let me tell you why you're making this so complicated. Because that's what moms will do. We will overcomplicate drinking 2 ounces of water. We will overcomplicate anything, because then if we make it complicated, we can validate not doing it. Right.
Yep.
So what I told her was like, Okay, first of all, wellness, exercise, when you are a busy mom, especially when you're at home with them, it happens in the pockets.
Yes.
So what is preventing you from putting on like one of your favorite songs, turn it up and dance with your kids around the house? Like,
Yeah.
what is preventing you from doing that? I remember the kids, there were certain songs that would repeat words, something like, all right, every time that word comes up, we got to do a squat, and they're having a great time. Next day, I'm like, I had no idea how much that worked my glutes. It's that we just make it so complicated. But what if we could make this fun? Because I'm sorry, if
Yes.
it ain't fun, I don't want to do it.
I'm with you. We have so much in common. We need to stay in touch. I'm with
Yes.
you. I'm the grandma that I want to be on the trampoline with my grandkids. I
Yes.
remember one Thanksgiving, I walked in to my stepdaughter's house, and probably 10 little kids around, and dogs and
Oh
people.
yeah.
And,
All the things.
the kids were running around, just happened to run in front of us, and they were playing some type of game with, laser tag type things. And I just went, can I play? And they go, yeah, we're playing Star Wars. You can be Princess Leia. And I went, cool. I'd rather play with the kids than talk to the adults sometimes.
Yes.
And so for the
Okay,
next
so you like the kids table too.
I love the kids.
Oh
It
my
makes you,
gosh.
yeah.
Yes. Yes. I
So
I
I
know.
got to
The
be
grown-up
Princess
table
Leia.
is so
It's so
adult.
boring. It's
So
so
boring.
boring. I got to be Princess Leia for an hour and had a great time.
Oh, that's so fun. Well, last time I was at home, my nephew had this immersive, like the virtual reality video game. Girl, I was working up a sweat on that thing. Like I'm dodging everything and I got my little like the saber. It was so much fun. I'm
I
like,
need to try that. And I
oh,
think, you know
we will
what,
geek out on that.
we have gotten so serious, and so much has been going on in our lives, especially
Yeah.
our world has been turned upside down with the pandemic and staying at home, and people have gotten so serious. But
Yes.
it's about having a childlike attitude, and we know that's what Jesus loves
He said,
most
if you
in
can't
people.
become like a child, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. He's
Yes.
not talking about going to heaven. He's talking about entering that place where he's flowing through you. God is just flowing through you, and you show up to expand his kingdom here in this world. But we can't do it unless we can develop that childlike, think about it, curiosity, playfulness. If we can foster those two things in our life, what can we not do?
Exactly. And unfortunately, with social media these days, there is a lot of criticism.
Yeah.
I've actually even had death threats
Oh,
because
honey.
I'm a hunter, and because I'm married to Ted Nugent, I'm sure that has something to do with it. But there was a part of my life where I was afraid to put anything out there because of the backlash and the criticism. I've learned a lot from Ted because he doesn't let anything bother him. And I realized that, if the critics are calling you out, they're going to do that anyway. No matter, I mean,
No matter what.
even if you're Mother Teresa, which they did for her.
They did
So,
for her. Are you kidding? Yeah.
yes. And Jesus, I mean,
Oh, let's talk about the number one most ridiculed
yes,
person,
he was
right?
canceled before there was a cancel culture.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. And he even
So,
told us, he said, look, you're going to be blessed. It's all going to come back to you a hundredfold with persecution. So
yes.
understand. And that's the thing, like when you're showing up strong, when you're like mastering your health, your money, your family, people don't like that.
Hmm.
And they will try to find fault. So we have to decide who am I making God? People's opinion or God's opinion?
Well, this, like, which
Oh,
one
honey.
is it going to be?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm serving a master. So who is it going to be? Who am I serving today?
That's right.
That's so powerful. Oh my goodness. So let's talk about abundantly well, because when you talk about walking with someone like arm in arm, you literally are doing this. So first of all, it's a beautiful book.
Thank you.
I know you're so proud of this. You have to be so proud of this.
I am. I'm very proud of it. I'm so grateful to my publisher Skyhorse that they put that together. They worked with me. They walked alongside of me every step of the way. And number one, they believed in me.
Yeah.
And here I am. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Married to a rock star, doing a Bible-based wellness book. How crazy is that? But they believed in me. And here's the other thing that I keep thinking about, Hannah. If God put me here for a reason. I end my Faith and Freedom show with Esther 4:14. Who knows if you stay silent during this time? I just got chills. If you stay silent, you and your father's house might perish, and deliverance would come from
It
somewhere
would come
else.
from somewhere.
But if you, we have to, we've been born for this time, and we have to
Yes.
trust that God is walking alongside of us. And if
Mm,
he's opened these doors for me, I'm going to walk through them.
absolutely. Unapologetically. That's what we
It's
have to
tough. It's
understand.
tough at times.
I, well, I mean, but we made the cut. Like you've got to understand God's not going to allow anything into your life that's not going to eventually grow you. You know, Romans 8:28 is always true. Like he works out all things for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. That's all things. That's the things that you think are working out and the things that you don't think are working out. They are all working together. So he uses everything, even the persecution, even the trauma, even the fear. He will show you who he is in that place. And I'm telling you, Shemane, the longer I've been, I mean, we're both over, over 55. And the more I've had experience in the kingdom, the more I realize that people who climb to the highest mountains have been through the darkest, longest valleys. And how you show up in the valley will reveal if and how you show up on the mountains.
It's so true. I mean, we're all sinners. We all have had struggles in our past. And I write about some of mine in my book because I
Yeah.
want to let people know, yeah, it might look like I'm living the life. I have a whole set of different problems than everybody else does. But the most important that we have in common is that we are human beings. We are all flawed. And what I love about you is that your message is especially for moms. And that you asked, what kept me going. I also realized that I needed to set a good example for my son. And when I got sick and almost died, I remember being on oxygen and I could barely get out of bed. And my son had a track meet at school. And I remember thinking how daunting it was to get in my car and drive to the school. And once
Yeah.
I did, I looked at the bleachers as if it was Mount Everest. Like, how am I going to climb up those bleachers? But I had to be there for my son. So we all need something. And if we use our kids, our grandkids, or our spouse, our family, anything in our life to encourage and motivate us to stay on course, that these bodies are God's vessel, and he gave them to us for a reason, to continue to do his good work. And it's not easy. And I'll admit, I just had a handful of Fritos. I like food.
Oh man,
And
mine are peanut M&Ms, girlfriend.
oh, oh, we have so much in common. I'll tell you what.
I remember one time when we were fasting from sugar. Okay. And then Blair came, we were meeting at one of the kids' shows or something, and he walks in, he gives me a kiss. I'm like, I smell peanut M&Ms. He's like, I caught him. I was like, and I wasn't like, oh, we're fasting from sugar. I said, where are they? Where are they? Please tell me you've got some with you. Tell me you have them on your person. I need those. But yeah, it's not about living this life of perfection, but it's about understanding that we're all in the process. So we make this, I call it the montage illusion. Like we think transformation in our lives is going to happen like it happens in a movie. You're going to have this cool soundtrack, and all of a sudden, like, a minute 30 later, you're like sliding into the blue jeans, and your skin is clear, and now you have like vibrancy, and you're making it to the top of the bleachers. That is not it. It is how you show up every day. And when you're talking about kids being that reason, I call it the ER formula. Not that we have to go to the ER, hopefully not, but we turn our excuses into reasons, because children can be your excuse. I can't go to the gym. I can't get up early. I can't keep the house clean. I can't, you fill in whatever because of the kids. What if you turned it around, and what if kids were the reason you get up early, the reason you exercise, the reason you keep your house clean? We get that choice. And when it becomes important enough, you will show up. You will always show up.
I wrote a story that actually happened to me. I was on a flight, and I heard the flight attendants, they were behind the galley wall, so I couldn't see anything. And I heard them counting to 10, and then they would stop. And then all of a sudden they'd walk around the aisles and everything. And then they'd come back maybe a little while later and they'd count to 10 again. And they did that several times. I'm like, I got to see what they're doing. What are they doing? And they came back to the galley and they were doing squats. So I complimented them, commended them, because we all have pockets of time.
Pockets.
We will find in the morning while I'm making my coffee, I will do a few stretches, do some neck rolls, shoulder rolls, stretch my upper back and my legs, my hamstrings. And even if it's just pockets of time like that, that counts. That all adds up. 5 minutes, 5 times a day makes a difference.
It's so perfect example. I will, in the afternoons, I throw the ball for my dog. I take them on a really long hike in the morning, but then I throw the ball for my dogs in the afternoon. I was like, what if I just did like a squat every time I threw the ball? Ooh. Girl, the next day I'm looking at that toilet. I'm like, I need to bend my legs to sit down. And this hurts really bad. Oh, and I was like, that is incredible. You always think it has to be a huge proportion, but we don't understand that every little bit matters. When I would empty the dishwasher, I remember doing those squats. I remember having for just one chorus, I would even just lean over on the kitchen counter and do some push-ups,
Yes.
We want to make it big, so we have an excuse not to do it.
If you can make it big and go to the gym for an hour, kudos to you. I mean, go for that. But if you don't have the time, we find time. If you say you're busy, but if your child called, they're teenagers or whatever, and said, Mom, can you bring something to school? You would drop whatever you're doing and do that. All I'm suggesting is we do that for ourselves.
Yeah.
One of the things I wrote about in my book also is, when you're holding a baby, okay, you're holding your child, you look at the child and would there be nothing that you would do to protect that child? And you hear them, you just look into their eyes and you would do anything for them. We need to start thinking of ourselves in that way too, that we need that love and attention to give to ourselves. And it's hard as women because we're givers. And sometimes that's all we know how to do, especially if we're caretakers. My mom had a stroke a couple of months ago, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done. But my brother and I and so many my cousins, we all pitched in and we all rotated our schedules so that we could help her and do that. We need this right now. If you're at a place in your life where you think you're too far gone, you've never worked out, you're looking at 20, 30, 40 pounds extra. The problem is the United States, we've been sold a bad bill of goods that we supersize everything and fast food and eat in the car. We need to get back to our roots, get back to living off the land, eating God food. The closer it is to the hoof, the ground, or the tree, the better. And the less processing, the better. Home cook your food and eat organic. If I'm a bow hunter, so we know where their source of sustenance comes from. It's not fed up with chemicals and steroids or antibiotics. Right. So it's healthier for us. And I want to encourage everybody, don't ever think that you are too far gone to start an exercise program, or for that matter, to start eating just a little bit better. In my book, I also talk about some food swaps that you can do. Like, who doesn't love mashed potatoes and gravy? Come on, mashed potatoes and gravy. But do you need the mashed potatoes and gravy and the bread and butter? So we can make some small choices that aren't drastic. I'm not talking about, giving up your favorite foods forever, but for a short period of time, and for swapping them with healthier alternatives.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing that really gets me is that I just feel better. I just feel better when I'm fueling my body. I just have more energy. I don't get sick. I feel better in my skin. And so I want that. Like that becomes why I want to eat healthier and why I want to eat organic and why I want to, you know, cook my food and make sure it's exactly how it should be and nothing is like stuck in there. And one thing I have to call attention to is in your book, Abundantly Well, it's not just here's some strategies and tips. I mean, you talk about getting past trauma, you talk about shame, you talk about the things that keep us riddled with in the poor habits. And so you go to the heart of the issue. And it's, when you talk about walking someone through, I know it's a 40-day journey, so much significance in the 40 days, so much significance there. And I know that was by design for you, but to make a journey, a 40-day journey, and to be able to get past all the criticism that you have over your body, or getting past any of the, you know, the lack of self-worth, all of those things, you touch on all that. You're like a true friend that says, all right, here's what we're going to do today. We can do today. Like, doesn't that just, when you have a friend that's like, hey, I'm calling you, I know you're going through a time and we're just going to just get through today. And that's kind of the energy that you show up with in this book. It's like, it's a new day and this is where we're going to go with this. And I got you. And I just want to recognize that, because I know a lot of health books are strategy and that's it. And if it just came down to strategy, we would all be rich and thin and gorgeous, you know, but it's not. It's about getting past whatever is eating away at us. And you do that and you do it beautifully, Shemane. So thank you so much. It's like, this is a beautiful gift that you've given people.
Well, thank you. And it's part of our journey. I think we've all gotten to this place that we are at in our lives because of what we've been through. And if we can use some of the childhood traumas that we've had, or even, you know, you have that coworker that just says nasty things to you or whatever it is, sometimes the emotional toil really does affect our overall well-being and even the ability to lose weight and get in shape. You
Yeah.
look at, you know, people who they call gym rats or whatever, and I go through, take an assessment at the beginning of the book, take an assessment. Where are you at? Be honest with yourself. Because if you can't be honest with yourself, this book probably is not going to work for you.
Nothing's going to work for you.
I want to help. And if I know some people who have been through much worse things than I have. I share some of my own personal stories, obstacles and tribulations with you. And I tell you how I got through it. And there's really no right or wrong way other than, okay, we've all had a past. You know, if you look at the book of Esther, look at Esther. Esther didn't, I think it's the beginning of Esther, it says she didn't use her past when she was moving forward. And that's what we've got to do. So the past is the past. Let's move forward. Let's walk in God's grace. It's a gift to us. We've got an incredible gift. We have God's grace. Like, okay, let's go, girl. Come on. Arm in arm.
Like, what is your excuse? You literally have the power that rose Jesus from the dead in you. And Ephesians 3:20, this we have to get like really clear on. And this would be a great way to just begin going after your goals, is he says that we will do exceedingly abundantly beyond what we can think or hope or imagine, but it's because of the power at work in you. So when you understand grace, like through Jesus, we have the power to do what we naturally cannot do. The more we understand grace, the more we have to hustle and grind. And it's so just freedom. It's just freedom. And I know that's what, I mean, faith and freedom. Let's get to it, right? You want freedom for people. And if you're operating in poor health, if you're struggling to get a full breath of air, walking upstairs, if you're struggling with skin conditions or gut conditions, God doesn't want you that way. And it tells us there's healing in his wings, but it starts with deciding, making a decision that first of all, I'm going to do what I can do. And I know God is going to do what I can't do. And together we're going to get this thing done.
Absolutely. And I share my journey of getting sick and almost dying from toxic mold, because sometimes there are things in our life that are no fault of our own, environmental illness and things like that. And so, okay, now what do we do with this information? I never thought I'd be writing a book about mold. I'm doing a documentary called Killer House. I did one actually, but now I'm doing a docu-series. I've written a book called Killer House, and I put everything out there because, you know, the Bible does talk about mold. And I do
Wow.
believe I have a chapter in this book about spiritual warfare, something that we might not be thinking about when we're talking about weight loss and getting healthy. What does the devil not want you to be,
Of
Hannah?
course, he
Healthy.
doesn't
He
want
just,
you to be healthy
yeah,
because then you can actually fulfill your purpose here in this world. No, no,
absolutely.
he will strike you in your body and cause you to be pulled away from your purpose.
Yep.
And not on your watch and not on my watch. I think that's why God brought us together. It's like, no, no, no. We're going to get healthy and we're going to get our purpose fulfilled.
That's right. Absolutely.
So
And
powerful.
I so believe in that. I've seen so many people struggle. And I think it's just a combination. What sets my book apart, when I was talking to the publisher and they said, well, what's different from any other diet or fitness book? Well, I don't know of any other books. There's a lot of great diet books out there with recipes. I do have some in this book. There are a lot of fitness books and talk about
Yeah.
strategies. You
Yeah.
should only do HIIT workouts. You should only do Zumba, which is my favorite. You
Yeah.
should only do CrossFit or whatever it is. If you don't address the spiritual, if you don't address the emotional, you look at somebody who's like so fit and they're in a bikini at my age at 62, which is something I'm not going to be doing. I'll just say that. But for people who can do that, great.
Yeah.
But are they joy filled?
Yeah.
Are they
Yeah.
happy inside? Sometimes we use exercise as a crutch as well, you know, as another addiction. And again, there's no easy way. You and I have talked about this a few minutes ago before we got on air. It's a constant struggle. It's just to keep our head above water and to put one foot in front of the other with all of the things that are chaining us to this world, all of the obligations that we have. But I want to walk alongside people. I want to help them. I've struggled with things in my life. I've struggled with my weight, struggled with my health. So I think we can do this together. And as mothers, as women, we're stronger.
We are. That's what I always say. We're stronger together. So, all right.
Absolutely.
So, where can they find out more about you and what you do and get all your stuff?
Well, thank you. My Faith and Freedom show is on Real America's Voice. That's at realamericasvoice.com. It airs every Sunday at 10 a.m. Now, if you're in church and you can't watch, you can always watch it. Like you could go to realamericasvoice.com right now and watch all the shows that I've done. I've had incredible guests, Kirk Cameron, Charlie Kirk, Don Trump Jr., so many pastors, Pastor Anthony Thomas, Pastor Dave Bryan, incredible. I just feel blessed to have
Right.
this platform. And my website is ShemaneNugent.rocks, ROCKS. I'm on social media. I'm in Instagram. Sometimes I do Dancing Fridays. I'm just silly sometimes. I will
But
admit
silly
that.
fun. Like,
Yes.
again, if it's not fun, why are we
Yeah,
doing it? Let's become
exactly.
childlike. Let's sit at the kids' table.
Yep. That's where I want to be.
Well, I will be right there with you. Thank you so
Awesome.
much for being here and just your heart to serve other women is beautiful. You're beautiful and your heart is even more beautiful. So thank
Oh,
you so much for what you're doing.
thank you so much, Hannah. Appreciate you. God bless.
God bless.